Choo-choo, all aboard the steam train. Howdy, partners. Get ready to ride the rails of time and discover the wild, wacky, and wonderful world of steam trains. Grandpop grew up in a town with a famous train with a silly name. It's called the Skunk Train, and it goes for a gorgeous ride through a part of the majestic redwood forest. As a kid, he loved to watch Baldwin-built steam locomotive number 45. Steam engine 45 typically pulls trains Wednesday through Saturday during the peak summer season. It's the one he always wanted to ride on and finally did as an adult. It's currently being worked on, so like Grandpop, you may have to wait for your ride on this wonderful piece of history. Grandpop loves the old beautiful steam trains and believes you will too. These iron horses were the coolest things on wheels back in the day, and you know what? They still are. They're like something straight out of a rip-roaring western, except they're real. From their humble beginnings to their glory days as kings of the railroad, steam trains have a story to tell that'll make your whistle blow. So, hold on to your hats and get ready for a rootin' adventure through the history of these mechanical marvels. Are you ready to hear about the pioneers who made these iron horses gallop? From puffs of smoke to legends on tracks. Well then, saddle up, because we're about to embark on a journey through time, tracing the tracks of these legendary locomotives. We'll uncover the secrets behind their puffing smoke and clanging bells, and learn how they transformed the world, one rail at a time. From hauling goods across vast distances to bringing families together, steam trains were the backbone of many a nation. They helped build empires and connect communities, leaving an indelible mark on the landscape and in our hearts. So whether you're a history buff, a train enthusiast, or just looking for a rootin' tootin' good time, this video is for you. Next stop, the invention of the steam train. Yeehaw! The wild, wild west of invention. Now hold your horses for a minute. Before we had these mighty machines chugging across the land, folks were using horses and buggies to get around. Can you imagine that? Talk about slow travel. But those clever clogs back in the day, they were always tinkering, always dreaming of something faster, something more powerful. They knew there had to be a better way to move people and goods across the vast prairies and bustling cities. And then, boom! Like a bolt from the blue, along came the steam engine. Now, this wasn't just any old engine. This contraption was a game changer, a rootin' tootin' revolution in transportation. It all started with harnessing the power of steam. Full steam ahead with Richard Trevithick. Now gather round, young'uns, and listen closely as we meet the trailblazer who first hitched a steam engine to a wagon and said, "Let's ride!" His name was Richard Trevithick, a British inventor with a mind as sharp as a tack and a spirit wilder than a bucking bronco. In 1804, he unleashed his creation upon the world, the first steam-powered locomotive. It was more of a bumpy, jerky, and kind of scary experience. Imagine a giant tea kettle on wheels, spewing smoke and sparks, and you're getting close. But hey, you gotta start somewhere, right? Trevithick's invention, though rough around the edges, proved that steam power could move a vehicle. Now it's time for a shout-out. Hi from Tester, Evaluator, and Grandpop to Bui, Duong, Jiang, Huang, Kim, Lin, Nguyen, Vo, Pham, Kwai, and of course Vu. George Stephenson, the train whisperer. Next up, we mosey on down the tracks to meet the man who took Trevithick's idea and turned it into a rip-roaring success. George Stephenson, the father of railways. Stephenson wasn't just an inventor, he was a visionary. He saw the potential of steam trains to connect communities, boost trade, and change the world as we knew it. And boy, was he right. In 1814, he built his first locomotive, Blucher, for hauling coal in a mine. But Stephenson had bigger plans. He knew his locomotives could do more than just haul coal. They could haul people too. So, he kept tinkering, kept improving his designs, and in 1825, he unveiled his masterpiece, the Locomotion No. 1. This beauty was the first steam locomotive to carry passengers on a public railway, and it was a roaring success. Where is Locomotive No. 1? It's at Darlington Railway Museum. The locomotive is on display at head of Steam Darlington Railway Museum, where it has been loved by visitors since the museum was opened in 1975. Many visitors ask if the locomotive is original, and the answer is yes. The engine is as original as it can be given its long history. And they're off! The golden age of steam. With Stephenson's groundbreaking invention, the floodgates were open. The golden age of steam had begun. Railways sprung up across the globe like mushrooms after a spring rain. From the rugged terrains of the American West to the bustling cities of Europe, steam trains became the lifeblood of nations. They transported goods and people faster and more efficiently than ever before, shrinking distances and connecting communities in ways that were once unimaginable. The world was changing, all thanks to the power of steam. And things were about to get even more exciting. Introducing the stars of the steam-famous trains. Hold on to your hats. It's time to meet the stars of the steam era. These ain't your regular trains, no sir. The biggest, the smallest, and the most famous locomotives. Meet the big boys, the Flying Scotsman, the Fairy Queen, and more. Big Boy the gentle giant with a mighty roar. Let's start with the biggest and baddest of them all, the Big Boy. Now this locomotive wasn't just big, it was big boy big. Imagine a train longer than a football field, taller than a two-story house, and heavier than a herd of elephants. Built for the Union Pacific Railroad, the Big Boy was a workhorse, hauling freight over the steep and treacherous Rocky Mountains. It was a symbol of American ingenuity, a testament to the power of steam, and a legend that still captures the imagination of train enthusiasts today. Little engines that could the mighty mini steam trains. Now, while those big boys were busy chugging across the mountains, there were other steam engines, smaller but no less mighty, doing important work in different corners of the world. These little engines may not have had the brawn of their larger counterparts, but they more than made up for it with their heart and determination. Time for another shout out to Alec, Ethan, Rayan, Ahan, Rudra, Joshua, Ayansh, Joel, and of course Abdul. Take the narrow-gauge steam engines, for example. These petite powerhouses were designed to navigate tight curves and steep gradients, often found in mountainous regions or mining areas. They were the unsung heroes of industrial transport, hauling everything from coal and ore to timber and livestock. And let's not forget the miniature steam trains. These pint-sized puffers were often found in parks and amusement parks, delighting children and adults alike with their whimsical charm. Fairy Queen, a tiny titan with a regal history. Speaking of little engines with big stories, let's journey to India to meet the Fairy Queen. This locomotive, built in 1855, holds a special place in history as the oldest functioning steam locomotive in regular service. Don't let her petite size fool ya. The Fairy Queen is a true survivor. She's witnessed empires rise and fall, technologies change, and yet she's still chugging along, carrying passengers on heritage journeys through the heart of India. Originally built to haul mail between different parts of British India, the Fairy Queen was later relegated to hauling construction materials. But like a true queen, she was destined to return to her former glory. In 1997, after a meticulous restoration, the Fairy Queen was back on the tracks, more beautiful and elegant than ever. More than just a pretty whistle, the workhorses of the rails. Now you might think steam trains were just for show, all puffing smoke and clanging bells. But let me tell you, partners, these iron horses were the backbone of industry and transportation for over a century. They weren't afraid of a little hard work and played a vital role in shaping the world we know today. From the moment those first wheels started turning, steam trains proved their worth as powerful workhorses. They could haul loads far heavier than any horse-drawn wagon, and they weren't fazed by muddy roads or rugged terrain. Rain or shine, those steam engines kept on chugging, connecting factories to markets and bringing raw materials to bustling cities. Whether it was hauling coal from the mines, timber from the forests, or manufactured goods to far-flung corners of the world, steam trains kept the wheels of industry turning. From farm to factory, hauling the goods that built a nation. Imagine, partners, a time before steam trains. How do you think farmers got their crops to market? Or how did factories receive the raw materials they needed? It was a slow and laborious process, relying on horse-drawn wagons and riverboats. Talk about a logistical nightmare. But with the arrival of steam trains, everything changed. Suddenly, goods could be transported over vast distances with unprecedented speed and efficiency. Farmers could sell their produce to wider markets, factories could receive raw materials on a regular schedule, and the economy boomed. The railroads became arteries of commerce, connecting rural communities to urban centers and fueling the growth of industries like never before. Steam trains transported everything from coal and iron ore to textiles and machinery, playing a pivotal role in the Industrial Revolution and the rise of modern manufacturing. Riding in style, the golden age of passenger travel. Now, while those steam trains were busy hauling freight, they were also changing the way people traveled. Forget stagecoaches and bumpy rides. The era of comfortable and efficient passenger travel had arrived. The first passenger trains were a far cry from the luxurious carriages we associate with the Orient Express. They were often cramped, smoky, and prone to delays. But as technology improved, so did passenger comfort. Elegant carriages with plush seating, dining cars serving delicious meals, and even sleeping cars for overnight journeys transformed train travel into a luxurious experience. People could now travel long distances in comfort and style, arriving at their destinations refreshed and ready to explore. Steam trains connected families and friends, facilitated business travel, and opened up new possibilities for tourism and leisure. Connecting a nation, fueling an empire. The impact of steam. The impact of steam trains extended far beyond transportation and industry. They connected communities, fostered economic growth, and even shaped the political landscape. The expansion of railways went hand in hand with westward expansion in the United States. Steam trains opened up the American West, transporting settlers, goods, and ideas across the vast prairies. They facilitated trade, communication, and the exchange of culture, helping to unify a nation. In other parts of the world, steam trains played a crucial role in building empires. They allowed colonial powers to transport resources from their colonies to their home countries, consolidating their control and influencing global trade patterns. Riding off into the sunset, the decline of steam. But even the mightiest of giants eventually meet their match. As the 20th century chugged along, a new breed of locomotives emerged, powered by diesel and electricity. These newcomers were faster, more efficient, and didn't require those big, smoky boilers. It was a gradual transition, like a slow, sad song on the harmonica. One by one, those magnificent steam engines were retired from service, their whistles silenced, their boilers growing cold. It was the end of an era, the sun setting on the golden age of steam. Some folks, they say, you could hear the ghosts of those old trains, whistling mournful tunes in the night. But progress, it waits for no train, steam-powered or otherwise. The world had moved on, embracing new technologies and faster ways to travel. Diesel and electric, take the stage! Out with the old, in with the new. Don't shed any tears for those steam engines just yet. Their spirit lives on. Diesel and electric locomotives had big shoes to fill. Diesel engines were the workhorses of the new age. Electric trains, like a futuristic Wild West show. Silent and swift, powered by electricity. Passenger trains became faster and more comfortable. Freight trains hauled heavier loads, faster and farther. The world marveled at these modern trains, but we still yearn for the romance of steam-powered days. Now, just because those steam engines had ridden off into the sunset didn't mean folks had forgotten about them. All across the world, dedicated groups of train enthusiasts and history buffs decided to keep the spirit of steam alive. They tracked down those retired locomotives, some rusting away in fields, others gathering dust in museums. And with love, care, and a whole lot of elbow grease, they brought those magnificent machines back to life. Restoration projects sprung up like wildflowers after a spring rain. Skilled mechanics, engineers, and volunteers dedicated countless hours to repairing boilers, polishing brass, and restoring those steam engines to their former glory. And you know what? People couldn't get enough of it. Heritage railways popped up all over, offering folks a chance to step back in time and experience the magic of steam train travel firsthand. So there you have it, partners. The story of steam trains is a tale of innovation, adventure, and the enduring power of human ingenuity. From those early experimental engines to the mighty locomotives that connected nations, steam trains left an indelible mark on the world. Today, as we zip around on high-speed trains and airplanes, it's easy to forget those pioneering days of steam. But the legacy of those iron horses lives on. It's in the railways that crisscross our continents, the industries they helped build, and the stories they inspired. So the next time you hear a distant train whistle, close your eyes and imagine the hiss of steam, the chug of the engine, the romance of a bygone era. And remember, partners, the spirit of steam, it's still out there chugging along in our hearts and imaginations. Well, partners, we've reached the end of our journey through the wild and wonderful world of steam trains. These iron horses went from puffs of smoke and dreams to mighty machines that changed the world. We've met the pioneers who built them, the workers who ran them. But even though the golden age of steam has faded, their story ain't over yet. Those steam engines still hold a special place in our hearts. So keep on chugging, partners, just like those mighty steam engines of old. Keep your dreams alive, your spirits high, and never stop exploring the world around you. And who knows, maybe one day you'll find yourself standing on a platform, watching a real live steam train come chuffing into the station. And when you hear that whistle blow, you'll know in your heart that the spirit of steam, it's still alive and well, and it's ready to take you on a rip-roaring adventure. Thanks for joining Tester, Evaluator, and Grandpop at WiseHooterLearning on this rootin' ride through the history of steam trains. Remember to keep researching and learning about this wide, beautiful world of ours. The more you know about the technology and people of the present and the past, the better equipped you will be to know when someone is telling you the truth or just spinning a yarn. Enjoy, and don't forget to like and subscribe. It's free and helps us to continue to make learning videos for Tester, Evaluator, and your young people at home. Until next time, keep it steamy.